Good day, gamers. My name's Sam Azard. Today we're going to be taking a look at the competitive settings for Halo Infinite. Now, whether you're going to be competing in tournaments, you want to play some competitive 1v1s or custom games with friends, or even just playing the ranked playlist in Halo Infinite, these are the settings that will be in place at launch, and they may be subject to change in the future as they make adjustments to the game and add new things. If you're watching this video a couple months out, don't be too hard on me if it's a little bit different. If you're not already, subscribe to me on YouTube, follow on Facebook, catch me streaming live, and of course for tons of fun clips and things along those lines, hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Let's go ahead and dive into the video and check these settings out in action. Alrighty, so full disclosure, the gameplay that you're about to watch is not my own gameplay. This is gameplay from the 343 Competitive Insights team. As of right now, this is the only footage that we have of these competitive settings in action. If you've already seen this from the 343 video, enjoy it again because it's some pretty cracked gameplay with a lot of cool moments that we get to see. Now, history with competitive Halo tells us that things will be subject to change in the future. The big things that may be subject to change are going to be maps and game types. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on those because frankly, we don't have a ton of detail on those, especially the maps right now. But we do have three main things that I'm going to touch on. We're going to burn through them real quick here, so buckle up. So the first thing that we've got on the docket is no radar. You may have noticed when playing the Halo Infinite multiplayer technical previews, radar felt like it was pretty tight to begin with. This had a lot of people, myself included, spectating about whether or not there was going to be radar in the competitive game modes. People may remember in Halo 5, you'd see a lot of radar even in the competitive and the official tournaments. That is no longer going to be the case. There's no radar. And this is going to do a lot as far as map awareness goes. And one of the big things that they talk about in the official preview and reveal of these competitive settings is information earned versus information given. And I love that. There's another item we're going to talk about next that ties into that even more than no radar. Now, what no radar is going to do, it's going to make some items particularly good in competitive settings. Things like the shotgun, the sword, the hammer. Basically, any sort of close quarters weapon is going to become extremely effective, especially if it's a weapon like the sword or the hammer that has a pull or long range effect that can one-shot kill people. If they can't see you coming, they can't begin sprinting or grapple shot away from you, and you'll be able to get the jump on folks really quickly. Another big thing, speaking of the grapple shot, that alongside the repulsor and using those to traverse different levels or close the gap on somebody rapidly is also going to be huge. If your opponent doesn't have radar, they don't have good map control or map awareness, it's going to become critical to maintain control of those items. That way you can continue to get the jump on people when they're not expecting it. And circling back to the idea of information earned versus information given is the exclusion of grenade hit markers. If you throw a grenade and you hit somebody, you're not going to get any intel on that. People may remember Halo 5, Halo 4. This was in both those games, older games, Halo 3, Halo 2, Halo CE, even Halo Reach. There were no hit markers for grenades. It's kind of a love-hate relationship within the community. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Either way, in competitive, it's not going to be there. You're not going to be able to use grenades to clear rooms, check corners. You're going to have to rely on your map awareness, your team communication, and your own map control to determine where you think people may or may not be. No gimmies there. And the last and perhaps most celebrated thing that I want to discuss in this video is the return of battle rifle starts. Halo 5 broke the norm for competitive Halo by not featuring a precision weapon to start. It was the Magnum and assault rifle. That's it. Halo 2, we had BR starts. Halo 3, we had BR starts. Even Halo Reach, we had the DMR instead of the BR. And then in Halo 4, we returned to the BR, at least with some later iterations, because early Halo 4 competitive settings were a little sketch. Either way, the BR is back for Halo Infinite competitive, and there is no secondary weapon at all. It's just the BR. They put a big emphasis on scavenging the map, picking up power weapons, controlling power weapon placement, map control, elevation, and then all the other wall drops that they have where a weapon will spawn on those weapon crates on the walls. Keeping track of the timing on those, keeping track of where they spawn, that's going to be huge, especially if you want to maintain control of any sort of secondary weapon outside of just the battle rifle, whether you need something for longer range, maybe something a little bit more effective at mid-range, that's subjective, or definitely close range battles, especially with no radar. You're going to want something other than the BR to handle those fights. And that covers the 3 main items that I wanted to go over for the competitive settings of Halo Infinite. I'm sure as we get closer to launch, especially with a giant official Halo Championship Series tournament taking place in Raleigh very shortly after launch, we're going to get some more detail on some of the maps, game types, things along those lines. But for now, we know no grenade hit markers, no radar. Battle rifle starts with no secondary items. I want your feedback, guys. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about that. Tune into my live streams. Come in, check it out, chat it up. We can talk about it there. Like the video, subscribe for more, and we'll see you next time.
Power item incoming.
Uh-oh! All right, watch this.
Power item on the field.
Bingo!